So one of the things that we're hearing the most in the ad agency world, right, revolves around AI and how's it going to have an impact with all the different things we do. So hopefully we'll have a couple of things. We'll have some fun. We'll have some interaction. When Caleb reached out, and a little background, so we actually used to be through the hallway over to the left is how we originally met, is where our office was. And then Caleb moved over here at his other studios. We were talking about how do we bring something that's really video based, but hopefully connects all the different dots on what we do for advertising and where we pull all the levers. So full disclaimer, the new marketing flywheel, video SEO, social, and AI in motion is an AI prompt response, but I thought it would be pretty fitting for what the content is today. So we're going to talk a little bit about our foundation for everything we do needs to start with our audience. Who are they? How do we help them? What are they looking for? How do we get that into really good, valuable content? We are going to talk about AI, large language models, SEO. The way we approach it, SEO, you'll find out is really the foundation to build on and then to amplify it into social channels. And we'll talk about some practical tools and things that we're using. How do we build authority and expertise for your brand? And then what we talk about is what we call our 4A strategy. And really everything that it comes down to is educating and influencing our audience, right? So they choose us when they're closer to in market. Not my favorite slide, but Caleb's recommendation is who's Cannonball Digital, what do we do? If you ask ChatGPT who Cannonball Digital is, right? Because again, in the name of AI, we're a digital agency in Sioux Falls. We started in 2019. September 2019 was a perfect time to start a new business as we went into 2020, right? And you can see all this content, right, is pulling from our website, is pulling from social channels. We specialize in a handful of different digital tools, but really who we are is founded on our core values. Everything we do, all of our messaging, all of our videos, and we'll talk about some specific ways we're incorporating that hopefully brings some ideas that you can bring back to your business. But for us, it starts with Light the Fire. And our name, again, Cannonball Digital. And we'll talk about that later on the full story. But Light the Fire is about being curious and about learning new things, right? I think in any business, if you're really curious and you're willing to learn new things, then you're going to be a step ahead. Quick on the draw. Kind of represents a word we made up because we're in marketing. So we use the term prosponsive. Prosponsive is proactive and responsive, and we just mesh those two together, right? If we're doing really good work, no matter what industry in, we're being proactive and trying to get ahead of it. But the reality is sometimes we just need to move quick and be nimble and be responsive to the market, to our clients, our goals, our audience. And then you get into define the target. Part of the reason for Cannonball Digital is like, who's that audience? How do we reach them, right? So we have to have goals. We have to be able to connect back to goals. Carry the cannonball, we say, is attitude, action, and energy. If we can bring really, positive energy, we're going to have a really positive attitude, our actions will be displayed, and then ultimately make a splash. We're in advertising. Everybody wants to know ROI, right? Everybody has that question of, is marketing working for me? Our promise is we're going to be fun, not boring, but we're going to need some help with that today. We're educators. We're not experts. Everybody here in your industry or your service you provide, you're the experts, right? So if we can educate people, we're not going to claim to be the experts. And then we'll provide some actionable insights for today too. So again, everything starts as we have the 4 A's, but our 5th A, our hidden A, the most important A is our audience. Who are they? How are you helping them? How are we retaining them? And then how are we growing your business? Marketers, right? I think there's some marketers in this room. We love the traditional marketing funnel based off of history, right? Because that's going to dictate our message and what type of video. Well, we need an awareness video and we need an engagement video, and we want to help push these people through that funnel over time to get them to our business. But the way people actually interact with, right, content and get information is more like a pinball machine, right? So this isn't our graphic. We took this graphic and you can have access to the links afterwards. But if you think about it, right, if you think about something that you're interested in, I like vests, as you can tell. I'm a big vest guy, right? My arms are always hot, my chest, no. So, right, think about it. So, what did I do? I saw a friend the other day and he had a vest on. Like, hey, where'd you get that vest? Right? He talked to me about it. I Googled it. And then, right, I went to their website and I got retargeted. And then I did some more research. And then I saw a blog. And then I went back to the website. Right? And that's how people actually interact with media, is like a pinball machine. Which we talk about is our 4A's, right? One, generate awareness, right? So let's talk about an awareness message for your brand. These people are not in market, right? If you're selling vests or shoes or widgets or something, like, they probably aren't even thinking about you. You might not even be on their list of previous transactions, but you still need to have an awareness message. Acquisition is when your intent changes and you're actively searching online or using AI tools to find that, and you get a little bit more in market. Action is, what are you doing on the website? How are you interacting with different pages, AI, SEO? And then appreciation is, what are we doing for organic social strategy and email strategy and word of mouth optimization? Because we got to show that appreciation. Why do we bounce around like pinballs, right? Because we're humans. We're running different programs, we're running businesses, and we have grocery lists and we have kids' schedules, and we try to, right, maybe get to the gym. But at the end of the day, I always like this one, because as marketers, we might run a campaign, right? And we're like, oh, we did all the right things and all these numbers are up and the metrics look great. And they're like, well, we didn't connect with the right people. Why is that? It's like, because we're pinball machines, essentially. So the main thing with connecting with your audience, and this isn't meant to get into video stats. If you want to know like the actual importance of video, then I would really suggest that you follow Caleb, because he's giving very practical tools all the time on the importance of video and the statistics. But everybody uses video. We're consuming video all the time. I think the key message here, if you have one takeaway from today, is your message is all about how can you help that audience? What are you doing to craft a message, right, through video to help your audience? Hopefully we're gonna have fun and we're not boring. There's some marketing people in here, right? Don't you love it when you start going through your discovery call to get your client goals and you're like, well, who are we really gonna drill down on? And like, anybody that, right? I want to promote a restaurant, right? I used to be in the restaurant industry. Well, who's our target market? Anybody that goes out for dinner. Like, that's not really the case, right? So we need to, right, drill that down. This one just says, and they don't have 25 versus 24 yet, but again, pinball machine, think of impressions. Impressions, when we think of video specifically, we're on YouTube, we're on a website. If you hear a radio ad, a billboard, a search campaign, whatever, on average through the US, 24 versus 23, it took approximately 894 impressions to reach an audience that was not familiar with your brand before they even visited your website. That's a crazy amount, right? 894 impressions before they even get to your website. Because people have a list, right? Especially if you're in B2B or you offer a product that has a price associated with it, right? And we're gonna go through some of these examples, especially using large language models. But 80 to 90% of buyers have a vendor shortlist before they even start doing research. So, right, going back to awareness, if that, right, if we're not on that list, how do we create those different pieces of awareness? So again, to repeat it all over again, who's our audience or audiences? Start with like your core audience. Who are you doing the most amount of business with? And then who is our like growth audience? Who do we think we can expand on and find that? That could be different markets, it could be different personas, different age groups, etc. What's your message? How do you really represent your brand? Again, for us, everything is based off our values, right? Our values are gonna dictate, right, the things that people ask us the most amount of questions about. We'll talk a little bit about platforms. We're not going to talk about how to run paid ads and any of those types of things. And then ultimately, right, if we're good marketers or good business owners, we have to learn and we have to rinse and repeat and do all these things over and over. So looking into 2026, and we're going to see a lot of Google stuff, but not all Google stuff. Think with Google is a great free resource, right? So they just launched this last week. And they're saying for their 2026 predictions, right, there's going to be 5 different predictions that they're going to make, and then there's a bunch of details, and we're going to pull one of these out. Consumers are prioritizing wellness, right? AI is going to be transformational, shocker. Your audience wants to be more involved. They want to feel like they're part of your brand, right? Kind of connects back to those values. Especially younger folks. Has anybody heard the term digital natives? We probably have a couple of digital natives in here. It basically says that, right, you were born with a phone in your hand. I was not one, as you can tell. Nostalgia is coming back all over again. And the future of sustainability is tangible value. Okay, so we're gonna pick one for today, nostalgia, right? Because I think this should help allow idea creation for your brand. So as whoever wants to participate, what brand are you following or are you really impressed with right now, right? That has longevity to their brand, right? Ad agencies, and we've been guilty of this in the past and even sometimes now too, is right, we spend all this time, this research, we come up with this big branding campaign and 2 years later we change it, right? And this isn't a tagline like just do it or you deserve a break today. But if you think about it, right, who's a brand that you follow or you're really intrigued with that does a phenomenal job? And I'll go first then to get it going. And we just went through this week. Dr. Pepper. I don't drink Dr. Pepper. I don't really care for soda. But if you watch like their Fansville, right, and how they connect with different trends, right? I like sports a lot, so like this is what's engaging to me. And I think that it's just really smart, it's really crafty, it's hard to execute humor over and over again. But like that nostalgia, right, kind of brings that back to me. So in like college football or college sports, they have like the transfer portal. And they played off the transfer portal, and then the portal was there and it took somebody away, right? But like that connects back to me, and I remember that really well. But are there any other brands that you connect with that really, really stand out to you right now? It could be local, it could be national.
I think of like this time of year, Patagonia wearing the coat. So I guess I'm a homer, but they do that like "Don't buy our jacket" campaign, and they try to sell you on the longevity of their product and how quality it is. If it breaks, they'll fix it, and so they're actually kind of the anti-consumerism because their values are rooted in the environment and adventure and nature. So I think that's one that always stands out to me.
Yeah, it's a good one. Okay.
I think Nike always does a pretty good job. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Just mixing it in, like the timing between running in the spring versus winter sports versus, fall, etc. Would do a pretty good job. And just similar to Doc Pepper. I like Doc Pepper too.
Yeah.
The coach is on the hot seat, right? Yeah. It's a grill and all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's trendy, and then they're executing on an organic social style side, right, too. You see a lot of that, right? So that brand, right, gets pulled apart, connected, but it all connects back here. Did you have one too?
Yeah, I think about A&W, even though it can be kind of franchise dependent, but when you find an old A&W that still has like the Voss mugs or whatever, that really sure.
Yeah, which kind of goes back to the nostalgia piece too, right? I think people are starting to look back through that, and they're connecting with different audiences based on how you grew up or what was important to you. And like that might be something you can take as a takeaway. So free tools. There are a lot of Google products on here. Google, there's more than just Google, but there's a lot of great free tools. The most undervalued one that I think doesn't get near enough credit is Google Search Console. So if you don't have that connected for your website and analytics, it's going to show you how people search and the phrases and the terms they get to your website. And it's a free product. It's great to have. Your Google business profile is phenomenal, and we're going to break that down a little bit more specifically. That's basically your second website. Think with Google, Google Trends, large language models. There's a link to share afterwards that you can get. And then the best tool to get to know your audience is ask them. Just talk to them, ask them questions. And it doesn't have to be a big focus group and a huge survey. Again, connecting back to our core values, we have a little statement that we say, never let our value be a mystery, right? It's for our employees and it's for our clients, right? So if I've been working with Chuck for years, We know each other, but if you're a client of mine and I call you twice a year, and every year, twice a year, you know that I'm going to say, Chuck, it's that time. It's never let our value be a mystery. What do you love that we're doing? What do you love that we're not doing? Where do we get better, right? And if you can do that in a repeatable process, it's not scalable for every business, but you can talk to clients, right? If they walk into a bank and you see them often, right? Like, hey, why do you love coming in here? You can choose other places. Like, so ask your audience. I think that's the most important thing and the most beneficial way that brings it back to helps you craft the message. And then again, using AI, and we're going to talk about video and how video gets mixed in because that's really the hero, just to execute all these different things. But this is a great prompt that I love that you can fill in your business name. And what it's going to do is you're going to prompt it specifically to break it into different key pillars and then ask for 10 statements that you can use on social media posts specifically, right? And I won't go through the full prompt. But if I prompt it for our business, right, it gave me this list of all of these reviews that are super important that we put a lot of effort towards getting. It summarized it, broke down, and then at the end of it, right, how to use these insights strategically, right? Here's some internal ways to use those, right, to talk about your business collateral, emphasize the different things they broke apart. Here's some social media ideas. The one that I actually liked the most for this one was client onboarding and sales that I thought was really, really awesome is, hey, learn from the clients that were willing to give their feedback and their review to you and use that to connect with all of your incoming clients or even maybe as part of your business development strategy, right? And then the other one, right, then it's prompting on the bottom. It can pull a full list of client reviews and quotes that you can use over the next 2 to 3 months. You want me to build that list? I actually changed it, said create scripts for video testimonials or founder voice posts, okay? It's gonna break that down and it's going to actually crank out, right, different short form reels and TikToks, long form YouTube and LinkedIn videos, voiceovers, a carousel companion, right? It's gonna give me the copy there. I like it because it gets you started, right? The number one recommendation is do not copy and paste this and use this, right? Because it's going to look like everybody else out there that I would say is kind of cheating, right, the game a little bit. Use it for ideas and strategy and maybe reconfirming something you're already doing, but don't have it generate a video or even social content copy. Use it, restructure it, and then use it for your brand from there. But you see a lot of that where the kind of the joke is M dashes using AI is a big one, right, that everybody talks about. But you start to see, right, and feel all of the same stuff out there, and then you just start to blend in, right, just like everybody else. But use it for inspiration, use it for topics. Do not use it for your actual copy. Okay, AI, LLM, large language models, and SEO. Hopefully I said we're going to try to be fun and not boring. Bonus point, and I have a gift. First person, you got to raise your hand. What movie is it from? Oh, you did both at the same time?
Sorry, Chuck.
He barely beat you, Chuck. Okay. All right. I don't know if you're going to use these, but as we continuously research, we're going to give him a little benefit of the doubt that it was like at the same time. Didn't necessarily follow the full instruction, but that's all right, Mike. Okay. ChatGPT is the largest used large language model currently, right? Does anybody use Chat? Does anybody use other LLMs on a frequently basis? Right. What do you use a lot?
Gemini 3 is killer right now.
Okay.
And then the new 5.2 that Chat just came out with is incredibly professional in comparison to what I had. It's just amazing. Claude Opus 4.5, because I'm a developer, is the best coder in the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
A handful.
Usable.
Cool. Kara, what do you like?
Yeah, I use a variety as well. I guess when he's in list was Grok as well.
Cool. Anybody else have something to share that you're using a lot or really? Perplexity.
There's Poe. I don't know if everybody's been on that site, but if you, I think you can use it for free, but there's a subscription where you can just test out a ton of different chatbots or AI models, so we can do like claws and I don't know if Gemini's on there, but some mental use that. I just want to experiment, or I'm not getting a answer that's working for what I'm doing.
Cool. So we're all using it to some level, right? So active daily searches, 66 million. Who wants to take a guess how many? Raise your hand. Closest to it, we'll get the next one. How many active daily searches on Google? Oh, yep, you got to go for it.
1 billion.
1 billion. One. It's a good range. Any other final guesses? Come on, Mike, do it.
2 million.
2 million. Okay. 14 billion. Okay, so since the beginning of 2025, Google searches have gone up over 300%, right? People are starting to use, and Bing and Yahoo are on there. There's another one called DuckDuckGo. Hasn't really had a huge adoption in this area at least, but they're using it. And then Chat on the far end. So this is a handful of months old, okay? What it tells us is that people are starting to use AI or large language models more, but they're going back to Google to verify it, and that's where Gemini and AI Overview, right, are starting to happen. That number on the far right is going to go up. Google will probably go down, right? So we have to start learning how to use that to show up in different ways. Search engines, the traditional search engine is going to see a decrease, right? These are predictions. There's going to be a drop in organic click-through rates, right? Don't notice the typo that I just called out in the middle screen. On the far right, there's a 50% drop in organic traffic by 2028. That's because when you make those searches, all of that information, if you have that available, is showing up. You don't have to click on anything more. They're just presenting it to you. So AI isn't just ranking pages. It's pulling signals from your website, from your Google business profile. It's also pulling all of your reputations, all of your word of mouth, right? It's pulling from your Google business profiles, pulling from Yelp, TripAdvisor if you're on it, and all these other directories, right? Google business profile is the largest directory, but there's hundreds of directories. It's pulling in all of this information because they want to know your expertise, your experience, and all of the authority, right? So the takeaway there is we have to start getting more reviews on third parties. You have to start asking for them because those signals are getting pulled in. If your family is anything like mine, okay, you're going to trust somebody else's review online more than your own family, basically. So 9 out of 10 people are trusting online reviews just as much as personal recommendations. So word of mouth matters. We know that. Look at those reviews, get your Google reviews, use that prompt, right, to summarize those reviews. Use those large language models to give you new insights. And then that's where we get into the starting point of video, right? Can you get a recording of those people? Can you create an animated ad that visualizes that testimonial, right? Get it onto YouTube, get that onto your website, your Google business profile, and push it out on organic social. That's going to kind of be the theme as we finish through the rest of this. Large language models are also pulling content from social media channels, okay? So I think the one we're going to be the most bullish on going forward is YouTube. Facebook and Instagram, kind of the same thing, right? Folks that do it really well probably have a little bit of a different strategy, but for the most part, as long as you're pushing it out there and doing it, it's good. Instagram is now indexable on Google, but they're starting to pull those posts and the content that you push out on social into other channels that AI is grabbing and moving it into. Twitter is becoming more relevant. And the hardest one, and frankly, the one that I dislike the most is Reddit. If anybody has a really good Reddit organic social strategy, then please come up here and take over because I've never heard of one. Gets so far deep into the funnel, right? And Reddit and Yelp are kind of similar. There's not always good positive stuff, but you're starting to see things get pulled in from Reddit as well.
I've been seeing a lot of press lately about how chat. I've just been, I don't know if you've seen it. It's not, my space anyway, but I've seen a lot of articles about the fact that, like ChatGPT, for instance, used to reference 35% of their information through Reddit, and now it's like tail spun down to like 8% or 7% or something like that. Have you been seeing that? Do you agree with that? Or
I think the best way to answer that right now, Chuck, is nobody really knows, if we're going to be real about it. We can pull all the signals and all the research, and you can test all your audiences, and you can look at all the analytics, but nobody really knows. We just know that organic social is actually going to be more important than ever before because it's pulling signals in. Organic social has kind of always been like, yeah, we should do it. What should we do? But I think the part of that is Reddit specifically. I think they saw such a huge influx that was getting indexed essentially. And then people are like, well, there's more than Reddit. So how do you build those AI machines? I don't know.
if it was, I wondered if there is a decline, is it because there's so many more options out there to look at, so it's spread out more, or is it that they have that it's not as valuable as it once was?
I couldn't give you the right answer, so I won't give you one that I don't know the answer to. There are some people that use AI a lot more, probably, that actually build tools and widgets that might know more. But Reddit's still getting sourced. How often, we don't know exactly yet.
Right.
I think the big thing is just be consistent, have a plan. If you can get into Reddit, great, but start right with the core ones, fill those all the way up and be really good at those before you just try to do too much on too many, right? A lot of our clients are like, oh, should I be on TikTok and should I do Snapchat? It's like, we're not even on YouTube yet and you're barely posting on Facebook or Instagram. Like, let's start there where people are spending the most time still. And really, it's kind of how it all works. We're like, have really good structured content on your website, right? So they can pull those signals, post often, and be consistent on social, right? That is where you can amplify it, and then you can start to see more authority, rankings, and visibility. And that kind of repeats what that first one was. Again, so we really like this model. It's a very traditional model that Google's ranked content. Large language models essentially are pulling the same type of content and information using really the same model here, right? So experience, expertise, having authority, because I can never say that word correctly, and then, right, being trustworthy. So in terms of video content specifically, because your message really matters, if you were to break that down into different types of experience, think case studies, think blog posts, anything that you can get deeper insights or a topic to in the world of video specifically, right? If you can get a case study video, but if you think of a blog, how do you visualize that blog that kind of connects to the next one, expertise? Find somebody on your team that's not afraid to get in front of the camera. It does not need to be perfect, right? People connect with other people. It doesn't need to always be a TV or a connected TV ad. Have them talk through it, and then you can break that up into a series of different types of posts as well, right? You can animate them. Design on social still works when you do it correctly and have hashtags. Expertise, right? Really play off of roles, credentials, awards, especially when you have them, chop them up, try to get as much longevity as you can because it, right, tells a story on something you're doing. Authority, we've talked a lot about reviews and testimonials, getting a little bit deeper and like really owning, right, a topic or an authority. I've seen some of the folks in here like, I'm gonna just be the guy on LinkedIn. I love it because it's like, that's my audience. I know where I'm at. I'm gonna be really specific. I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna go really all in on like podcasts and videos. Like that's great because you know your audience, right? And then you test content over time and then just be trustworthy. So I'm gonna go through an example and show you how video ultimately helped out with a search result too. So the prompt, right? I live near Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm looking for a new Ford F-150. I want to know what Ford dealership has a good selection of F-150 trucks. List out the dealerships, how many they have, and if they have any discounts this month. Right? That's a large language or an AI search. That's not a Google search. A Google search is F-150 deals near me, right? It's a totally different search. They're going to start to, right, pull in all this content from website content. We're going to focus on this one, Vernity Ford, right? They're in Mitchell, South Dakota, if you're not familiar with them. It's going to show, right, their business profile. It's going to offer me things up. I'm like, yes, I want to see even more within 100 miles. It's going to list all of them within 100 miles of Sioux Falls. It's pulling from content on their website. It's this saying what you should do if you go. And it's going to list out things. It's going to give them questions to ask about finance and rebates and how they price their vehicles, right? All of that's good content. It's good content for your website, and it's good video content. What this means in practical terms, right? And then it's prompting me again. I can dig up all these current incentives and rebates, right? And basically build the incentive sheet. It's pulling those reviews from their Google business profile into a map again. And then it's breaking this down, what Vern ID lists for F-150 features and trim options, because it was the top search selection. And a couple of these pages, right, because it gets really in depth, are pulling from a page on their website, right? Specs and features, lists them out specifically, has FAQs, and then there's a video there, right? And we're going to keep breaking this down even further. So it's got a really good title and a description. F-150 Ford features, Ford dealer near Sioux Falls. It shows the vehicle, it shows what it's capable of, it shows how it helps you. And that page with that video was part of that search result. So that's kind of the model that we're going to encourage you to follow as well. Have really good content, visualize it on how you help them, and then structure your YouTube channel really specific. So in this case, right, they have their branding ads. They have a series of different ads, right? That's kind of their theme out there is it's not Vern ID, it's Verneasy, right? Then they show the different types of products within it. Hands-free driving, the GM mobile app, hey Google, tell us a joke, etc. And then you take that other type of content, right? In this case, they have different models that they want to showcase. So they can post it on social, put it on their YouTube channel, get it on their website, and then, right, look at service. They also know they're in Mitchell, not Sioux Falls. So one of the things that was most important for them, that kind of goes back to that EAT model, is highlight your employees. Right? Not every employee wants to be on video. Like I personally am like, I pushed against it for years, and finally it's like, all right, I gotta do it. First video ever, oh my gosh, I sound like a complete idiot, which might have some truth to it, right? But like, you just got to get started and have some fun with it. This one was about like balding tires are no joke. And they ask a few employees, and then they point over to a guy that kind of looks like me, right? And he's like doing something like that because he has a bald head. Get it? But here's a couple of different types of ads, right, in terms of video that we'll kind of go through real quick.
Burn ID Collision Center. Unexpected dents? Or a packed windshield? We've got you. Our team is ready with 24/7 towing and trusted care. We're Mitchell's local partner. Stay ready for what's next with Burn ID.
So that video didn't have anybody in it, didn't require, right, a crew to go out there. But it was done decently well. That VO was AI generated. The graphics were partly AI generated to get the graphics, and then a human still had to go in and build that ad, right? So that's a version of an ad that performs really well on Meta. This is a little bit different. This is actually bringing out, right, the equipment and technology through video and, right, trying to show off the Ford Expedition and something that's practical on how it helps you, not how many miles it gets and, right, all these things. It's a different version of that one. Just something fun, right? Again, how many people are going to plug a TV and a gaming console on the back of their Expedition? But you can start to visualize different ways to use the features of it. You are? Yeah? Your boys are going to get in there and play a little Fortnite, or what are they going to play, Mike?
Yeah, we have one.
The other piece of video is, right, depending on your brand, depending on your goals, we still need really good video content that lives on different types of screens. So connected TV, if you're familiar, would be like your YouTube TV, Netflix, Hulu, Roku, etc. You still need content that lives there that represents your brand as a whole, and this would kind of connect all the way back to awareness. For the folks in Mitchell, they're a car dealership, right? They sell trucks and cars. They didn't want to sound like every single other car dealership out there. There's some loud ones here that have a lot of fairground events, and they're probably good people, I don't know. But they wanted something different, so their whole theme of Vernese has a series that gets played off of. They didn't hire talent because, again, for credibility and just trustworthiness, they wanted to use their own team members. So their team members are the talent.
Hi, it's me again, back with another Variety commercial.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Get your lemonade.
Did he just say lemonade?
Wow, this lemonade is delicious.
So come on down to Variety, where buying a car is.
As long as it gets a chuckle, right? So that's also a little bit of usage of how AI, right? It's not meant to be this super high level produced brand, but for them, where they're at in Mitchell, South Dakota, right? To cut through the clutter of their competitors, to not say it's $12,000 off MSRP. That was their way for a branding awareness ad. And then you kind of saw how that trickled down through all those different stages or pinball machines and how video can be useful. Again, the key there is, right, your message matters. Find some of these different things to build on. Like these could be potential pillars of content that you can, right, execute and get on all of those different channels. The other one is a lot of times where you kind of get stuck. Oh, I don't know what my branding message should be. I really don't know where to start or what to do. So I really like this one as well. If you ever read Donald Miller's story brand framework, it's been around for I think 20 years, maybe longer. He really has a process that he talks about that's relatable to movies. But this is a prompt you can use. It's going to break out all of these different things that you use in the prompt. So this one's, here's a repeatable story brand outline with a creative prompt for each section based on the original one. And really what you're supposed to do is find a way to tell your story. And this is why we like this one. So, right, if you think of a really good movie, right, there's always like a main character or main characters. They always have a problem or some type of obstacle that they need to get through. Usually some type of hero or a guide comes along to help them with that problem. They create a plan, right? They have a call to action or they get out there to, right, avoid that pitfall. It helps them avoid that failure and then it usually ends in success for a lot of movies, right? I think this is where we would say most brands fail. Most brands position themselves as the hero, okay? Your brand is not the hero. Right? Your brand is not the, I'm on the wrong one. Your brand is not, you're not the main character or the hero, you are the guide, right? Your audience should be that hero. So your audience is that main character that has a problem, and then you come in and guide them through that. That's, I think, where a transitional difference is when you talk about a branding campaign. But that's a Donald Miller story. But he also has a website. It does cost money. It's storybrand.ai. You get 5 free prompts maybe, but you can go there and you can copy it or we can send it out or have it accessible afterwards.
The StoryBrand podcast is incredible also. I just listened to an episode this morning, so.
Yeah. Tons of good value in there. Cool. Mm-hmm. All right. So we'll dive into a few more. Hopefully there's some questions. Some of these slides are probably a little old, but what it tells you is that people spend a lot of time on social media. YouTube is still a huge search engine. And then depending on your business, B2B is the world's largest search engine, right, on the B2B side too. So a lot of active users and searches in all these platforms. And this, I think, is just a traditional way. Test and learn, right? Inform yourself by what your audience engages with. So post on organic social, look at the results, and start to, based on your pillars, if you're going to use the EAT model or something else, see which ones are naturally engaging with your audience, right? And then once you start to pick up on those patterns, you can make a few tweaks, and that's where, if you want, if you have budget, you run them as ads and have a higher call to action button. I know there's a lot more to it. I think you specialize in that area, but at its core, essentially, that's what we're trying to do, right? I'm not going to play this one. Again, so we'll walk through some specific things. I use this one a lot, so it's meant to show you different ways to use video. It's not meant to be about Cannonball Digital, but this is something you can do for your own business, right? Who are they? What do they do? They're going to pull insight. So, right, they're not pulling content from our website. They're using third parties where we have information and we have reviews, right? And it's going to talk about what we do. It's going to talk about why you stand out, content on your site, right? Chamberofcommerce.com. That's another directory like we have a profile in. It's going to talk through all these things. It's going to summarize in one sentence who you are. If you want, you can source it. 5.2 gets, as Brad mentioned, even more advanced. But if you look at like just a simple search on our business, who we are, you have our website multiple times, but you also have all these other directories or places that people can get your information. This is one specific one. So each one of us has our industry. We might have different third-party reviews. If you search your name or you search something about your industry, you're going to find out the primary ones that you should at least have a presence within. And then next, our Google business profile. There's some really good folks locally that talk a lot about the importance of your Google business profile. It is like your second website. It is a source that all of these large language models are pulling information in. The one that I think does the absolute best job locally in Sioux Falls is Pete Kleinjohn. He owns Tiger 29. The guy is awesome. He is cranking out content on LinkedIn daily, and it is packed full of phenomenal information. We write blogs and do stuff, but as another person outside of just us, if you want to follow someone, he's doing really good work. So getting into video, right? So if somebody's at this point searching for the name of our company, they want to start to get validation, right? We want to build trust and credibility. So we're putting our videos, right? So little thing here, when you build a video and you have that 1 second lapse in the beginning of it before it fades in, it pulls it as black. We were going to redo those, but you know what? We make mistakes. That's why they look black. So I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. They're up there. We'll come back to it and rechange it. But our videos that we have are all about our core values, because every one of our core values connects back to one of the most frequently asked questions our clients ask. So a quick on the draw is about communication. We hear things about communication all the time. So if people are going to look at photos, you can do a 30-second video or less and post it there. It's a great place to get your videos. Make sure you're adding products within your Google business profile, your categories, secondary categories, get reviews. And then under updates is another great way to put all of those videos as well. It's a phenomenal way to get videos there. Get them on your YouTube channel, okay? Have like your hero video that you want to represent you, right? That really talks about it and cuts through the clutter. And then structuring your YouTube channel will give you a couple little things that you can do. For us, it was all about our core values and our team. Those are the two most important things for us, right? Client testimonials, visualizing those, right? They're telling a story about the experience they had with us. And then we have some SEO tips, tricks, and best practices specifically underneath that. So you can categorize your YouTube channel. There's a lot of text on here, but essentially if you want to start showing up on Google and large language models, really own your YouTube channel. Get good video titles and descriptions, right? Just get a couple of keywords in there. And then if you don't have a transcript, there are free tools. You can just have it transcribe it for you. If you can rework it, better. But if it's one of those things like, I'm not gonna do it, it's better than nothing, then transcribe it and get that information on there. Get video on your website, tell a story. Find a really good website developer that's not Cannonball Digital. We work with one or two that are just phenomenal. But this one, right, our name's Cannonball, right? So we wanted something fun that represented on the homepage. And then get those case studies on your website. So yeah, it's another signal to pull through that tell a story. Get it out on social media, right? Amplify it on social. And then have some fun with it. We say we're fun, not boring. When we go through and we look at the videos that perform the best on our social channels, the two that by far, and we haven't been doing this for more than probably 4 or 5 months for our own brand. We're kind of like the cobbler's kids, or right, the mechanic that doesn't have a car that starts, fill in the blank. The ones that perform the best for us were ones with our team playing pranks. And guess who got to be the butt of all the jokes? Shocker. And if you watch it, I was literally, couldn't have been more oblivious to the whole thing going on until I saw the video on social. But I think part of it is like, have some fun, right? I mean, if you're gonna do business with someone, like you wanna have a little bit of fun with them. But it also shows our people, goes back to the EAT model, kind of connects all the dots back together. So again, message matters. Here's a couple of different things if you're not doing it. Hopefully you can find some things. The key that I think most people don't do is they just don't get started, right? If you go back to the pickle visual, we get really busy, right? We're probably all like, okay, how much longer is he gonna talk? I gotta get going and get lunch and do whatever. You just gotta get started. Talk to yourself when you're driving. Chuck, you seem like a guy that likes to sing in the shower. No? I'm just kidding. I'm just having in the car, right? Just start with yourself, record yourself. Again, I think if you're just going to use a phone, phones can be good. They can get the job done for certain components. I think the biggest thing that you probably would recommend is like audio when you're doing that. If you're just using a phone, audio seems to always be the biggest challenge. I don't know.
Audio over video.
Audio over video.
Quality.
Quality. Okay. Okay. I don't like talking the entire time. That was a lot.
Nice work, JP. That was great.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Brad. Any questions?
I have a quick one.
Yeah.
Oh, don't do it, John.
So, say a business or a brand wasn't doing any video or social media, and they wanted to focus on video. Where would you recommend they start posting first? Or to be like one place, or to be multiple?
They've never done anything before.
Yeah.
Well, you know, my favorite answer is always it depends. Okay. It depends on your industry and your audience. But I think probably the first place for most businesses would be Facebook, Instagram. Get started there, like organic content, especially for videos, a little easier to execute just to get you going. And then from there, I would add YouTube in the mix. From there, I would get that content on your website and your Google business profile. But if you're just trying to get started, Facebook and Instagram typically. Now, if you're B2B big time, I would change that answer to LinkedIn, but one of those two.
Well, I would say everywhere. I mean, the heavy lift is creating content. Why not spread it around?
Yeah, if you can, just get started.
If you build the foundations right for YouTube and all the socials, yeah, I have the blinders on for LinkedIn, but I leverage Kim to help me promote it on other platforms, and she helps change it and tweak it because every algorithm's different.
Yeah.
Also, it's like the formatting, the language, the everything. It is a little bit different to work better on each platform. So, but that core content can be repurposed. So,
Absolutely.
Kind of along those lines, we have debate about this, but do you have a viewpoint on using some kind of software or tool to blast it out to multiple networks, or do that natively as far as posting on different kinds of channels?
It depends. One, pick a person that can do it. I think it's going to be chicken and the egg a little bit. Posting natively within the platform would probably be ideal, though. using like the Meta Creator Studio within LinkedIn with raw files. Don't use a YouTube link, for example. But if you have something where you want to get it out there and you lack resources, then look at a third-party tool probably. But there might be other better answers. I know you
I would
probably have something different.
and all the studies show that really, and we test a lot, third party versus organically posting at time. It's better to get it out there if that's a time faster than a scheduler might work, even the Meta scheduler. The thing that you want to be confident is using a scheduler that is a third party certified. Like there are some schedulers that are not Meta, and you'll get kicked out of Meta. So yeah, just making sure.
There's definitely levels to that. I mean, and what they're more, what they, at least LinkedIn, what they put more heavy emphasis is are you live on the platform? So it's not so much the mechanism of delivery as fact as did you warm up the platform? Are you being active? Are you getting engaged with other people while it posts? That's way more important than if you're, hey, I'm driving down the road, I'm not even logged in, and it just automatically goes out.
Sure.
So,
but I think creating a process though too, like once you get a really good process, it doesn't take that much longer. Once you have the video file and you can drag and drop it right into Meta, onto LinkedIn, to your Google business profile, drop it on YouTube, like it does go really quick once you get a process.
You mentioned not letting AI necessarily write the content. I would say that we already are, because the Google overview typically solves my problems way before I would need to even scroll to a result. So whether it's AI in or AI out, it's kind of what we're reading anyway, or what we're consuming anyway, to a certain degree. I think I love the authenticity factor of video, like real people on a real camera in a real room talking about real shit. Like, I think that's important. But man, I have a real hard time getting going on it. Like, I have a ton of ideas how I might leverage video and help educate other folks on the things that we do every day we take for granted. But I just can't get to that next step. I don't know. So there's a lot there. There's a lot packed into that. But those are just my thoughts, like things that stood out to me.
Yeah.
I can't get started on video because, I'm the shoemaker's whatever kid without the shoes.
Robert's kids. Yeah, you know that.
And then, leveraging, say I do prompt it down to something that this is a golden nugget that took my knowledge and my prompts to get to, and I want to share this. And it's pretty close to copy and pastable for whatever I'm sharing. I feel like that's wise to share that if you can get to that.
Yeah. I think it goes back to just getting started. I had that same thought process for years, and probably still do some days. And then I read Buy Back Your Time, Dan Martell, and I realized where I was spending all my time and how to complement the things that I was doing, our team was doing, and where I was spending my time. And for me, that changed my outlook on it. I think going back to the original part, yeah, we're absorbing AI content through the AI overview or wherever we're getting it. That's kind of like surface level. We're getting content. We're starting. I think part of it is if you're going to show up there for your brand, you still need well-structured pages on your website. The content is still the same model through the EAT philosophy. There's just a little bit of differences on how you can get content on that page through snippets, schema markup, FAQs, et cetera, which gets pretty technical into the SEO world. But when you're on that page, you still want to be able to read that page and connect with your audience. And I think that's where the difference is on your website, on those pages, if you can have video and you can have better, more human content, our opinion is you're going to connect with your audience better than having it be AI generated. And every business is a little different too. Like the things you're sharing might be to a client how to do something all over again or how to use a widget that was built. We're thinking maybe more like promotional things, but.
I don't know if it's like the AI, embedded, language of it that's triggering things, but the data that we're getting back is the fact that the more raw, just like walking down the street, unedited videos are now getting a lot better results. So I don't know. I'm not saying that it's like AI hooks in it. I think if you look at video like 10 years ago, it was all kind of like that. It was all just kind of rough and tumble. And then, captions came in and then zooming in and out and all these things. Now you can just dump it in a program and it does this like beautiful thing and makes us all look lovely and great things. And I think people are getting numb to that to a little effect of where it's like, that's got to be AI. Because we've seen so many things. It's just like, we know it's AI.
It goes back to the nostalgia. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I want to see Caleb built, crafted video of real people that I know. Like, I think that, once you see that,
That's way more engaging to me that there is
I think
AI overlays on a video.
I think it's a trust factor too.
Right.
I mean, if you're telling me versus watching AI, I'm going to trust you. Anyone could have put that together.
Right. I think I had to put up with a lot of AI slop over the last year and a half or 2 years that we've all been kind of more or less power users of it or getting into it. That slop's not going to be around in a year. No.
Yeah.
So it's pretty
Like customizing, I think, is getting a lot better. So that you do have a more personalized AI script, I guess.
But I do believe in the nostalgia point too. I mean, a lot of my focus is training sales reps how to leverage LinkedIn. And when I go in there, I'll hear from time to time somebody say, I'm like old school sales rep. Like I drive around in the car and knock on doors and try to meet people in person. And I'm like, that's insane. That's not scalable and all that stuff. And they're like, well, I mean, it's rare that I get a sit down, but when I do, people are so blown away that I would come there personal because they never see it anymore. That they're like, hey, you know what, come on in. And I sit down and almost always turns into an opportunity, if not now, then down the road. So I'm like, yeah, there is some value to that. Inefficient, but you've got to use everything, because there's not one tool that does it all.
So, just a question on that. I guess this is kind of like my thoughts, but also on a question. So I like the authenticity of people talking right behind the video or good audio first, right? Is there a place within AI or tools and resources to cut out some of the rambling, right? That happens. I like it when people are just giving some of those raw thoughts, raw opinions, walking down the street, doing the video, but nothing drives me more nuts when I'm just listening to somebody ramble the whole time about it, So is there a place for those tools and resources cut out some of that, right? And maybe there already is. I just find that people are probably taking it to the more extreme where I'm like showing, hey, I'm not AI, right? And I think you do a good job of that, Caleb, right? So are there tools that you would suggest?
Yeah, I mean, there's like, if there's like a long video, you want to get like clips of it or something, you can use something like Opus Clip, which I have an affiliate link for you if you want. I can send your way, which I'd appreciate if you used. Opus Clip does a good job of that. And they, it puts captions on there for you. There's several other like AI programs. If there's like, sometimes you kind of like, even with AI, you have to kind of fine tune it like exactly where you want the cuts. That's where like manual editing is always the best if you can do that. And if you are like rambling in the car, right? But there's like a nugget that you just want out of that, it's probably best just to like go in and trim it yourself on a program like Instagram Edits or CapCut, something along those lines if it's on your phone. But for longer conversations, like if it is a podcast or something like that, Opus Clip does a pretty good job from an AI standpoint of clipping those and putting captions on it and emojis and all that stuff.
Is there a tool that will help review your video? For example, like, and I don't know, maybe that's just in transcript form or something like that, but
Like review it, like
before you post it, like give you feedback how it might perform. Or...
again, Opus Clip has like a virality score that it'll give you. And so it'll tell you like the chances of this one. And it's not about going viral with all your clips, understand that, but it will give you kind of like a ranking of like this has the potential to perform fairly well. And so it'll give you a ranking out of 100.
The other thing I've tried is like if I made a video or so, more of like I have one-on-one conversations with a client or something like that, I record a lot of that and I can get the transcript of any of it. So whether I'm doing a video or something like that, I can take that transcript, I can dump it into chat and say, what were the key points that the person I spoke to, resonated most with? And what did I talk too much about? Where did, I land? Where do I ramble kind of thing? And you can just ask it what you want to know about it. It can read through those sometimes to get the information.
One thing that a lot of people are doing, especially thought leaders and industry experts, what they're doing is they're A/B testing on TikTok. So TikTok's algorithm is meant to like just basically blast it out there and find the right viewers. And so what a lot of like Dan Martell, right? You mentioned Dan Martell. What he does is he A/B tests on TikTok and he'll test different hooks or different, like maybe the very first thing is text or something. He'll like change that up depending on what the topic is. And then he'll run a couple different, and then whatever one performs the best on TikTok, then he'll put out to the other platforms. So that's another option, possibility.
Yeah,
as well.
Dan Martell does a great job with that. Gary Vee kind of talks about that a lot too.
Yeah.
For their types of businesses, it
Yeah.
makes total sense.
Yeah,
too.
totally. And then that's not for everybody, right? Like that takes a team to do a lot of that stuff. But if you do have the ability to do something like that, it is worth A/B testing. Even on YouTube, A/B testing thumbnails, A/B testing titles, all that stuff.
Hook lines, yeah.
Yeah.
Instagram just made it available. If you're not on TikTok, you could do trial reels, and that's a great way to get put it on file for soap you don't up a TikTok. You could do Instagram and do trial reels.
Yeah. That trial reels are real good. Okay, so we have just like a minute longer. Is there any one last question, one last comment or anything before I do my church announcements? All right. Well, this is great. This is like the conversation piece is awesome. That's like what I want to happen. It's my job to figure out how to mic that better. Okay, so that's where I come in. Try to mic the conversation a little bit better. Justin, thanks so much, man. That was incredible.